As you learned in the Army, Lieutenant Commander named by either missile or any aircraft product, I'm not sure which, are ejected and broke my leg and both arms. And your official number, 624-787.
One man sacrificed for his country. One man opposed a flawed strategy in Iraq. One man had the courage to call for change. One man didn't play politics with the troops. One man stands up to the special interests.
Stand up. We're Americans. We're Americans, and we'll never surrender.
One man does what's right, not what's easy. John McCain.
I'm John McCain, and I approve this message.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Senator John McCain.
Thank you very much for your warm welcome. Thank you for the honor of speaking before this gathering. Thank you for the work you do in supporting the preservation of the family, the most basic and essential component of any civil society. My friends, I know that before I can win your vote, I have to win your respect. To do that, you expect me to be honest with you about what I believe. I'm a conservative Republican and proud of it. I'll match my record defending conservative principles against any other candidate in this race. I know you may not always agree with me on every issue, but I hope you know I'm not going to con you. One of the most important things we have in this life is our self-respect. I don't expect you to trade yours for empty promises. I'm not going to trade mine for anyone's vote. I'm going to tell you what I believe. Let the chips fall where they may. Some people misunderstand voters who are concerned something beyond their economic self-interest and believe that the demands of self-interest are best served by the priorities of the Democratic Party. I disagree. I believe Republican economic policies are respected and growth of free markets have proved the surest way to help people earn and maintain prosperity. Voting for whomever you believe will bring home the most support to your state or district is neither in your self-interest nor does it respect the faith we have in a nation that was founded on ideals, not tribal or geographic identities. That is why for my entire career, I have fought against wasteful spending so that American families would have the freedom and means to make their own choices. And to do as good as you have, to serve a cause greater than self-interest. I believe that is the perspective and priority of a values voter. Values are the ideals we hold dear and are best protected by reviving virtues that are often in short supply. Political. Our founding fathers were informed by the respect for human life and dignity that is foundation of the Judeo-Christian tradition. They're the self-evident truths proclaimed and defended in our founding documents. All people are endowed by their Creator with inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Many of us, the meaningful pursuit of happiness compels us to defend these ideals. In this hour, ones has never been more urgent as America confronts challenges to its founding values, particularly the sanctity of human life at home and abroad. Friends, we are in a struggle against Islamic extremists, a struggle to protect America while the values that make it worth protecting. Both of these struggles will demand courage and perseverance on our part and on the part of our leaders. The American generations have been called to confront evil. My father and grandfather fought fascism. My generation fought communism. Now we are summoned to confront the evil of radical Islamic extremism. There is no denying it is evil. How more evident could it be than in the media parties choose to confront us? Terrorism is not only an assault on our political and economic interests, it is an act of war against our defining ideals, sacrificing Muslim children in car bombs, beheading a reporter merely because he's Jewish and American, broadcasting the atrocity. These are the tactics of people who scorn life and dignity. We are summoned to fight not only by our justice earned for our physical security, but by the responsibility we have always accepted to support and defend values we believe to be universal. We need a comprehensive strategy to succeed in this struggle. For nearly 3 decades, we watched as the threat built, did little to contain it until it could be no longer ignored after the terrible events of September 11, 2001. Since that time, we have joined the battle on many fronts. But we're at a crossroads of this global struggle, and we'll need a president who has the credibility to lead, the experience to lead wisely, the will to take the right path, even if it means walking a lonely road. I've spoken elsewhere at length about the strategy I propose. We need a larger military, real intelligence reform, increased contributions to our civilian agencies, and a commitment to victory in Iraq. We need a comprehensive legal and diplomatic strategy that allows us to battle effectively a modern threat without betraying our ideals. The world is watching. We live in a time when the images we project cannot be easily erased. Confronting the threat of Islamic extremists is a battle against external forces. It also involves a personal and social contest with our own fears. We will not surrender to the terrorists. We must not surrender to our fear. We must resist at all costs the temptation to believe that we can protect America by sacrificing the values that make it worth protecting. I am not naive. I am not naive. I know very well the tools some governments have resorted to for that indefinite detention without trial, torture of prisoners, the belief that anything is permissible in dark places where power is the only law. But these tools are not American tools. The easy way is not the American way. We must remain true to our ideals, not in spite of the threats we face, but because of them. In the decades to come, our prosperity and security will depend in part on what people in distant corners of the globe see when they turn their eyes toward America. As President, I will do everything within my power to ensure that they continue to see what they have seen for over 200 years, a nation that remains fully worthy of Abraham Lincoln's belief that Americans hold in our hands not only the destiny of a single nation, but the last best hope of earth. It's not easy to preserve our ideals in the midst of a difficult struggle with those who despise every value we stand for. It's not easy to see the humanity of our enemies, who refuse to acknowledge our humanity, whose cruelty is so wonderful, so sacred. The Bible's call to do just that reminds me of the saying, Christianity has not been tried and found wanting, so much as it has been found difficult and not tried. A consistent message to us calls us to recognize that all life is sacred because all human beings are created in the image of God. Recognized as central to the founding documents of our nation. We have gone to war to defend our security and our values. That is an enterprise that always involves morally hazardous actions. It is a just war. And like all wars, it requires the sacrifice and taking of human life. let us not abandon our humility in its prosecution. War is a terrible thing. Not the worst thing, but a terrible thing nonetheless. In our humility, commanded by our faith in our ideals, and a just and loving God, gives us the strength to resist the unnecessary sacrifice of our faith, the necessary cause of defeating our enemies. My friends, when I was a young man, I thought glory was the highest ambition, and all glory was self-glory. My parents in the Naval Academy tried to teach me otherwise. It wasn't until I had to rely on others to an extent I never thought would be necessary that I understood the lesson. I had to have faith in something greater than myself, not only to survive, but to survive with my self-respect and intent. Faith in my comrades, faith in my country, faith in my God. That faith helped me not only to endure, but to understand and respect that comes. Thus, in a moment of unexpected compassion that God ordained, I could learn the most valuable lesson of all: how to forgive, how to escape the bitterness that could have destroyed my life. As you well remember, we didn't lose the Vietnam War, we lost Vietnam. We lost the streets of Chicago and Washington, D.C. The North Vietnamese knew that very well. They tried very hard because they against our country to make statements condemning our country and our cause. One of the tactics that they would use in order to try to get cooperation was to take ropes and tie very tightly on your biceps, pull it back behind your back, wrap the rope around your head, put your head down between your legs, leave you in that position for an extended period of time. One evening I was in that condition in an interrogation room. It was late at night. The door to my cell opened, indicating an individual that I had seen around our campus. Gun guards, just because there for security reasons. Walked in with his finger to his lips, and he loosened the ropes and held me. About 5 hours later, he took obviously the end of his watch and came back. Tight ropes. A couple of months later was Christmas Day. Because it was Christmas Day, the Vietnamese, who kept us apart from each other, allowed us to stand outside of our cell for a few minutes. Just standing outside my cell, walking out and let the gun go. Stood next to me in the dirt of the courtyard where I was standing with his hand drew a cross on the ground. He stood there. And then shortly thereafter, he with his hand rubbed out the cross and walked away. He's the one person that I have always had the opportunity to be with again. My friends, if America stands for anything, it stands for freedom to follow our own hearts, to determine our own relationship with God. The Constitution did not establish a national religion, but neither did it banish any worship. Religious freedom does not require Americans to hide their faith from public view, or the community to refrain from publicly acknowledging the importance to them of faith. Judges should not legislate and should actually restrict religious freedom by banning its expression. I am proud to have played a role, and a major role, in the confirmation of Roberts and many others. Friends, as we all know, wisdom is a virtue. Sometimes all wisdom asks of us is that we recognize common sense. Don't federalize issues not addressed in the Constitution. Don't constitutionalize issues where federalism has a chance to work. Sometimes wisdom, as with all other issues, require courage. Wisdom suggests that we should be reluctant to change the definition of marriage that is takes courage to stay in nation. A mother and a father have unique, complementary roles. Marriage reinforces public support for those roles. Wisdom suggests we should be willing to give another child, but it takes courage in this political climate to insist on the protection of unborn children who can't vote after the support and donation. Wisdom suggests that when activist federal judges impose their social views on the citizens of every state, the result is going to distort our politics in terrible ways. But it takes courage to insist that the courts have to return to their proper role. I will appoint strict constructionist judges that won't legislate from I believe I am the only major candidate in either party who can make that claim. I know what it is like to live without human rights, where human life is afforded no inherent value, and I know that I have a personal obligation to advocate human rights wherever they are denied. Burma, Bosnia, Cuba, or the Middle East. In our own country, respecting all human life, born or unborn. That is a personal testament that you need not take on faith. Only examine my public record to know that I won't change my position. Humility is as important as wisdom in our public affairs. It not only assures our fidelity to a cause greater than ourselves, defends our ideals, but cautions us not to become so complacent in our strength and virtue that we become arrogant in power. This is something that Americans have long understood, must continue to understand. We must preserve room for economic freedom, but recognize possibility of corruption. We must recognize that government is necessary, but power corrupts. Americans have lost trust in their government. We must restore that trust. We must restore that trust by doing what is right for the American people, not just for the special interests. Once said, freedom is the right to question and change the established way of doing things. It is the continuous revolution of the marketplace. It is the understanding that allows us to recognize shortcomings and seek solutions. He spoke these words to university students in Moscow in 1988. It was a message they needed to hear in Russia then, and it is a message that we need to heed in Washington now. My friends, President Reagan possessed an unshakable faith in America's spirit that was more durable than the prevailing political sentiments of his time, and he became president to prove it. His confidence was a time men who had come home, eager to put the Vietnam War behind us. Our country could do likewise. His was the faith that shut the tyrants. Tear down this wall. When walls were all I had for the world, his faith in our country gave me hope in an excellent place. I'd like to close by telling you a brief story. I met him. In the first few years of the prison in Vietnam, the North Vietnamese kept us in solitary confinement to the faithful cell. Thanks to the efforts of millions of Americans on our behalf, conditions were changed. They moved us to the cell at 25 or 30 in each cell. One of the men who moved into the cell with me was a young man by the name of Mike Christian. Mike Christian came from a very poor family in a town near Selma, Alabama. He didn't wear a pair of shoes until he was 13 years of age. He was 17 when he joined the United States Navy. He was shot down and captured not for private. My Christian had a great faith in our nation, great appreciation for service, cause greater. As part of the change in treatment, the North Vietnamese allowed us to have some packages from home, occasionally with small articles of clothing. The uniform we wore in prison, short sleeve blue shirt and blue trousers, pajama trousers, and street sandals that were cut out of automobile tires. I recommend them very highly. Their lasted me 5.5 years. Mike Christian, with his blue shirt, fashioned himself a bamboo needle and got a piece of white cloth and a piece of red sewed on the inside of the shirt, the American flag. Every evening in our cell, before we would have our bowl of soup, we would take Mike Christian's flag and put it on the wall of the cell. Pledge our allegiance to our country. Saying the Pledge of Allegiance many times is not the most important or meaningful part of our day. That prison cell far away. Some of those men who had already been there for us long as 7 years. Pledging our allegiance to our flag and our country was indeed the most important part of our day. One day the Vietnamese came to our cell, searched our cell, had on my Christian shirt with the flag in it, and removed it. That evening they came to the door of the cell, opened the door of the cell, and called for Mike to come out. We closed the door of the cell, and for the next hour or so, beating him rather severely for the benefit of all of us. At the conclusion of which they put him inside the cell. We tried to clean him up as well as we could. The cell in which we lived had a concrete slab on the center of it in which we slept. The light bulb in each corner of the cell which shone dimly 24 hours a day. They said we cleaned him up as well as we could. I went over to lie down to go to sleep. So I did. I happened to look over, and in the corner of the cell, beneath that dim light bulb, with a piece of white cloth and a piece of red cloth, and his bamboo needle, with his eyes almost shut from the beating that he had received, of course, was my friend Mike Christian, sewing another American flag. Now today, we have another generation of Mike Christians. They're over there, fighting for someone else's freedom, putting it on the line every single day. And I am most proud to tell you that they are the best, they are the very best America has ever produced. I support them